Hey, Stephen Young here at High Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts with a pretty cool 1981 Camaro Z28. You know, it wasn't long ago that muscle cars from the 70s were seen as smoggers and nobody really wanted them. Well, that was back in the 90s and the 80s. Well, now these things are getting hot. And this is a great example of the final edition Z28 on the second gen body. This is an 81 and it's a pretty special car. The great thing I love about the 80 and 81 Z28s is the factory installed air induction. It wasn't extra cost, and unlike the Trans Am, which had a fake shaker hood from 1975 on up, these actually worked. If you come around to the back of this hood, you'll see this bolt-on fiberglass scoop actually has two doors that open like that to admit air into the engine. Now this opens up when you hit wide open throttle. How do they know to open? There's actually an electric solenoid switch on the gas pedal at wide open. It clicks those things open. And they don't just enter into the engine bay at random, they actually feed the engine cold air by means of this duct. GM actually tooled up this metal adapter that fits around the top of the air cleaner. And this is standard on all Z28s in 1980 and 81. Now this one is kind of an unusual car. The standard Z28 engine in 81 was the 350, the LM1. Well, for 75 bucks, you could actually get the 305 with 165 horsepower. And that's what we have here. The VIN reads H in the 5th spot. So this is the 305, again, 165 horse, aluminum intake manifold, semi-carburetor controlled Rochester Quadrajet under the air cleaner. And this was, you know, pretty standard stuff in the late 70s, early 80s when fuel was over $1 a gallon and people wanted the style of a Z28 but didn't necessarily want the fuel consumption of the 350. So this is the step down or credit option 305. Nothing wrong with that. Again, these are not fireballs, but they handle really well and they look amazing. The high school prom, the high school reunion, this is the car you want to go there if you graduated in the early 80s. This is the car to have. Now under the hood, it's very well presented, a mixture of preservation and restoration, the correct blue paint on the engine, and again, including the aluminum intake. Yep, GM painted the aluminum intake manifold, but this is all original stuff. Remanufactured alternator, good stuff. We know it's been serviced properly. The folks here at High Octane Classics, they run a comb over every car to make sure that they're ready to go. They're roadworthy and no surprises or headaches when you leave. This one does have air conditioning, the C60 air conditioner. And keep in mind that of the 129,000 roughly Camaros built in 1981, 43,000 and change were Z28, so about 1 in 3. Now something this car does have that was very popular is the T-top roof. This was a $640 option, but check it out. About a quarter of all Camaro buyers, including sport coupes and Berlinettas, went for the glass tops. They were very popular, but also very easy to steal. All you gotta do is lower this puppy here, and off they go. So these were a classic item for the midnight auto salvage folks back in the 80s. But they're here, they're present, and they convert this car into a part-time convertible in a time when Camaro did not offer a convertible body. But inside this one, something pretty cool is the 4-speed manual transmission. So while the original buyer of this car wanted the fuel economy of the 305, well, as part of the deal, you got a standard wide ratio 4-speed transmission. The 305 was not offered with an automatic in the Z28 in 1981. So that 4-speed restores the sport to this Z28. Kind of a nice touch. The speedometer on this one has been altered. It's been changed, I should say, with a 120 mile an hour unit, or sorry, 130 mile an hour unit from a later application. No problem, a lot of folks did that. Keep in mind, these had 85 mile an hour speedometers when they were new. Part of the government's mandate to, well, get us to drive 55. That worked out real well. At the back of the car from 1971 up, we have this beautiful D80 3-piece ducktail spoiler, part of all Z28s from, again, 1970 on up, or 71 up. The 70 was a smaller piece, but you knew that. Okay, let's look inside the trunk and see how it looks. Gotta love the Z28 logos and the blacked out tail. Oh, wrong key, Steve, here we go. There we go. Yeah, and really nice presented gloss white paint where it should be. The Space Saver spare tire present and accounted for. The original jack with the original paint, etc. Underneath the trunk mat, yeah, okay, nice. An unrestored trunk floor. This is what you want to see. This oranging here is just surface discoloration. That's a nice solid trunk floor. That's just discoloration. Nice solid piece. And this does have the dual exhaust you'd expect to see on a Z28. reproduction, or excuse me, there are Flowmaster mufflers on this one, so it's been lightly modified. And I understand this might have a little hotter camshaft than stock. I heard it fire up and it's a little wilder, but that's okay. Very tractable, fun, 4-speed 81 Z28. The last of the breed, 1982, they went downsized, so if you want a Gen 2 Camaro Z28, this is the last chance to get one. Keep in mind that High Octane Classics does finance these cars with as little as 10% down, and they'll also deliver the car to your shop or your garage or your driveway, and they also consider trades of late models, collector cars, you name it, they'll consider it. So to learn more about this car, go to the High Octane Classics website.